Hey, storytelling Ron here. What a busy Monday. Okay. I want to go over my bitterness and anger. What is it? Jealousy, envy. What are the terms? Frustration. Is it envy? Bitterness? I don't know, whatever it is. About, say, not being successful with my channel, my RPG. And am I not successful with it? I guess I'm definitely not making any money off of it. I'm losing money. So I just wanted to show you exactly my little excuses. And I am not savvy. I do not know how to make money. I've never known how to make money. Now, I've had jobs. I've had some really cool jobs. Worked at Blizzard. Worked with Blur at Blur Studios under Steve Miller. What's his name? The guy who directed the first Deadpool. Chris Miller. Anyway, I worked there. I got to work on a Conan animated film that died. Everything I've worked on too has died, man. Maybe it was my fault. I don't know. I worked on the first StarCraft, a little bit on the first StarCraft, and Diablo. I did the first Diablo cinematic. Anyway, so I've done some stuff. I've done some stuff, and I've sold some scripts. I've sold a film. I got a film festival. I did a full-length CG animated film. Blah blah blah. Okay, I don't want to go through that. What I'm going through is why my YouTube channel sucks. Why I have failed. Now I'm financially successful through my wife, and I guess successful as a husband, or husband. But for me, my own entrepreneurial spirit of things, I'm just terrible. I don't have it. So I'm going to go through that. I want to go through and just show you guys this. I guess this is kind of hard to see. Let me pause this and maybe make this a little, screw it. All right, so this is my YouTube channel and what I have the most views on, right? And these are all if I really wanted to be a successful YouTuber, I really should do it based on what I get the most views on, right? What works, what I like to do, what works. I don't do that. And I know I should edit. I know I should edit this down. I should cut this down and make it quick and faster. I don't do that. I do long blabbering things. Why? I don't know. Why am I not, working on it to make it more successful? I just go where the passion is, and I guess that's dumb, but whatever. That's what I'm doing. What's funny is that my best videos are my scores, my D&D scores. And that to me was just a moment of passion, putting together music. I am not a music person. I do not know tones. Is it beats? Whatever. I don't know anything about music. I mean, what I know is scores. I love scores. I obsessed over scores as much as I obsessed over alternative music or goth music. I've always loved scores, and I've used them in my work, especially my writings and my D&D and all that, or my role-playing game stuff. So I just, when I was getting back into Dungeons & Dragons, role-playing games, 5e, in the last 5-6 years, I really obsessed over it, and I wanted certain kinds of music that I just wasn't, I just picky or something. And so I started making my own music. It's crazy. I've used music before in my own film I did, and sold it to a territory and got it at the AFM 2 years in a row and got into film festivals and all that. And I thought I was going to be a big CG producer at that point, and then the whole market crashed, whatever. But and then I ended up homeschooling my daughters, so I gave up all of it to homeschool my daughters for 10 years. Anyway, so coming back into it, I just wanted to do some scores, and I made these scores. And this one's the Ambiance Winter Dread battle music. It's the top one is a elongation of, or an ambient version of the second one here, D&D Music Winter Song. And these, man, I love these scores. They're just amazing. I think they're just amazing. I don't even think I did them. I just think that they're freaking awesome. I don't know. I'm not trying to say I'm awesome. I don't know how they're awesome. I don't know, but they're awesome. And the ambience one's got 100,000 views. The D&D Music Winter Song's got 60,000 here, if you can read that. 23,000 for my Storm Giants. And obviously the likes are really good too, right? They're nearly 100 percentile. So why didn't I should just keep doing that, and then I would build up my channel and blah blah blah, and keep building up more and more. And that's actually where all I get my money from too, like the $20, $25 a month I make or whatever it is. And the Foundry VT connecting obviously got a lot of views, even though it's kind of goofy. And that one people like because it seems to still work. I don't know. I figured it'd be dated by now. Fire Giants, freaking awesome. And then my Storm King's Thunder and Princes of the Apocalypse make it work. Look at that. It's got really good, thousands of views. Not obviously not as viral as most people's stuff, but anyway, and this is all, it's still D&D, and then of course Star Wars one Star Wars RPG one, little all over the place one, Carnivore Christian. Maybe I should do more videos on the carnivore stuff from a Christian perspective, but I've only done one of the one in, but whatever. So look at this, it's still D&D. Foundry, still sort of a D&D thing. Why am I not doing that? And then I got here, can Christians play D&D? I think this is the positive one. And then, of course, a year later, I do a negative one. Still D&D. D&D 5e races women. Very contentious. Look at that. I don't know if you can see that. 21% like. So my most contentious one of all. And obviously, I'm doing a D&D channel, or I was, and then I bring this out, which I believe now, 5e, all role-playing games are race women. They just play like a man. Just be a man. That's basically what it is. That one's got 2,000 views. And all of my stuff is long, contentious, everything I'm doing now. So why am I not focusing on this? Well, I guess if I was younger and this was a job, and even if you're a Christian, if this was a job, you might want to focus on that, and because you still got to make tents, right? Paul still had to make tents as a disciple to make a living. You still got to make a living, and the Bible, the New Testament, certainly understands that, and it does say you should be paid for your ministry. So you should be paid, for your ministry. You shouldn't get rich, but you should be paid. If you don't work, you don't eat. That's the New Testament. That's Jesus Christ and the disciples. You don't work, you don't eat, and you should get paid for what your work and what you do, even as a minister, or you got to make a living. So why am I not doing that? Well, probably the biggest reason is that I have a financial stability through my wife. She's been successful, and it was a choice we both made 15 years ago when I decided to homeschool the girls. One of us had to, because we were both working super long hours in our fields. She's a fashion director. I'm a CG. I was trying to be a CG producer. I was a CG animator. I was trying to be a producer, but you work long hours in that, and it was grueling. So she was making a bit more money than me, and was more steady than I was. So I was more ranty, like I am now. And one of my daughters called me on it, and so I decided to do it. So why now am I not letting the people decide, the viewers, what kind of content I should be making? It's because I'm doing this for the Lord. I'm doing it for the Lord. That doesn't mean the Lord has told me to do this. I am not one of those kind of Christians. I'll just come out and say it. I do not trust Christians who say that. I think they're, charismatic or self-centered or whatever. When a Christian says the Holy Spirit led me to do this, well, that's a little different. Holy Spirit led me is something I can, God told me to do this, or what, or when they say Holy Spirit led me to do this, but what they really mean is you gotta do what I say because the Holy Spirit led me to, I don't know. Any Christian that says God told me to do this, Jesus told me to do this, I'm literally like, F you. I don't know. I'm not going to. The Bible is the only thing that we need to tell us what Jesus and God want us to do. The Bible is the only thing, and that's what I've been telling in all my videos, and again, it doesn't matter if you or I succeed at our ministries. It doesn't matter, because God and Jesus are going to do what, their will is their will. We're doing what we do. You've got to look at it this way as a Christian. You're doing what you do because you love the Lord. Not because you have to, not because it's a rule, not because he expects you, not because he's based on what you do is how faithful you are, right? Whether you fail or succeed at something doesn't matter to the Lord. And kind of doesn't matter what you do, in a sense. You just love the Lord, so you want to do something for him. So it doesn't matter to me if I fail to succeed at this. I just got to do something for the Lord because I love him. I'm a Calvinist. I'm already been chosen to be saved, and I'm assuming I'm chosen to be saved because I'm kind of obsessed over Jesus. You know, as you can see by the views there. If I was, and I'm not talking about your faith, but I'm saying if I was really not a Christian, I would definitely focus on, you know, the pagan-y stuff and going for it, right? And I'm not questioning your faith based on that. I'm just saying for me, I know that I definitely know I'm saved, and pretty obvious, because everything I do in my life is less sin, more loving the Lord, more for the Lord, whatever it is. And I'm telling you that's what you need to do too in your life. And I'm not telling you have to quit D&D. I mean, I kind of am, but I'm saying it in the sense of like, you got to find a way to get the Lord in your life and in your games and in your fun and in your entertainment and all that. You need to find a way. It's not that you can't do these things. It's just that, think about it. Think about the weight of what's going on in the world and the culture and in your life. Are you forgetting about the Lord? Are you putting the Lord aside? You shouldn't be doing that. It should be, in your games. And again, acting like a Christian and playing like a Christian is not really being a Christian. And like, oh, it's just a game. It's just fantasy. I get it. But even in that, you can still do stuff for the Lord. You can still do evangelism. Evangelism is Christianity. The gospel is Christianity. Not, I'm going to be nice to that person and rescue them. I mean, you're going to do that because you love the Lord and you just want to help people. But in the end, the truth is you want the gospel to be spoken all the time. Now, the problem is I think the RPG games are very manipulative, even without us knowing it. Because it actually, if you notice all the RPGs, they generally show that you go to towns and villages and rescue people or help people who seem very innocent. But when in the truth of medieval times and really the best stories in fantasy times is that the people themselves need to be saved from themselves. They're the ones causing the problem. The worship, the animal sacrifice, the human sacrifice, the slavery. In most role-playing games nowadays don't really show that. They really homogenize and gentrify the villages so that they make the evil further away, and that the people you're helping are just innocent and good, and paganism is good, and you just got to get the right paganism and not the bad paganism. So they make the game actually really makes you become pagan, manipulatively, whether it's intentional or not. I think it's osmosis, a sort of a mass psychological thing that's been happening in the RPG culture and in the regular culture too. I have been going back to watch 80s barbarian films, very titillating. Some of these, I was surprised. I'd forgotten how titillating they are, and of course my wife's out of town right now, so it's been rough. But she's come back today, so. But and I'm watching them, and I'm going, wow. I remember the 80s. I remember these movies, all R-rated. A lot of them are R-rated and titillating, and I'm like, man, these really are seductive. They've seduced us back then. So the people my age, all these you guys out there are playing RPGs. We all were seduced by all those films those barbarian 80s films. And I'll do a family version one, which is Dragon Slayer by Disney. They really made us think in a pagan mindset. Remember in Dragon Slayer, they replaced the Christians in the historical story, St. George versus the dragon. They replaced the Christian heroics, but with a pagan wizard, and then they made the Christian, the priest. Remember, they made him look like idiots, and then and then they took false credit for the killing of the dragon when it was really the pagan wizard who saved the day. Today I'm infuriated by that. I love that movie. When I was a kid, I love that movie, and that pushed me away from God. But God will always save who He wants. But that film made by Disney pushed a lot of us kids away from God and the church, and a ton of those movies did. Conan the Barbarian. I love the Conan the Barbarian, but it pushed us away from God, and made us addicted to pagan entertainment, pagan heroics, pagan RPGs. And we are forgetting and replacing God and Jesus Christ and adventure and romance and chivalry. We're replacing that with pagan crap. And that's my point of my videos. It's my point of my game. is to get you to real. And I have this role-playing game. There. I have this role-playing game that brings Christianity right up to the forefront in a Conan and Barbarian style, in a real Dragon Slayer style, in a Star Wars style, in a Terminator style, in a whatever is your genre. We're going to have a setting for it. And right now I have the Dark Ages, the post-apocalyptic, and the Christians in space, all hardcore evangelist church planning. And by the way, the evangelism in it is rare. Like most of it is you dealing with space bugs and mines and space battles and space pirates and combat, and you're trying to evangelize, but nobody wants to hear it, and you're getting lasers shot at you. I take seriously that it has to be hardcore, gritty, entertaining fun. The Apostles of the Epoch and Christian Space can be gonzo too, very gonzo. You can have black magic in it as well if you want. You can have demonic stuff, absolutely. You can have Warhammer 40k. I got space bugs in the Christian Space that are infiltrating planets and want to take over planets, and it's all terraform stuff, and it's all biblically adherent, creation science adherent, even no evolution. Evolution is crap, doesn't even work, BS. In Christian Space, the atheists have went out 2400 AD, whatever. They went out, and remember, 100 years is a long freaking time. It's a long time. It's 1920. I think ice was just starting to come out, right? Refrigerators. People were still using horses in 1920. Okay, 100 years is a long time, and especially in accelerated technological terms. So, evolution is kind of teaching you that 50,000 years, 100,000 years, 100 years is a long time for what we can be doing and what things will change. And anyway, so the atheists go out and terraform planets and genetically modify human and animal DNA to plant all the planets, plant them with stuff. That's how you get dogmen, sharkmen, frogmen, whatever, space bugs, Terminator killer robots that are expanding out into the galaxy. So we've got it. We've got all of the genres out there to use while still being biblically adherent, earth-centered, as far as where life comes from, and blah blah blah. Okay, and then of course Gonzo in Apostles of the Epoch, you can do Gonzo, crazy wasteland, Gonzo mutations and creatures and with dark wizards and stuff like that, trying to do dark magics. And half of it is black magic, half of it is drugs and pageantry and all that and technology. So you can do that. You can do that in these games. So this is what I'm obsessed over. I'm obsessed over it, whether I got to do a real job and, just to bring in some money if the wife might make me, I don't know. I might have to do real work. I don't know, because I'm not making any money off of this. I'm losing money, and that's okay. I accept if it's a failure financially to support myself and the wife. The wife's a fashion director, so. But I feel like how many, I've retired from homeschooling my daughters. So the last 5-6 years now, I've been trying to do a little cottage business like this, and nothing's taking. So that's okay. And obviously I've changed I went from D&D. I did some D&D Kickstarters, which, like 3,000 each, but I was sort of, getting my feet wet, and I feel like I could have kept going, right? I could have done maybe some Shadow Dark stuff, or I jumped on whatever the latest bandwagon is to do a Kickstarter and then make everything on it, the music, the tokens, the artwork, the game. I could have done everything. I'm not, because I don't love it. I love the Lord, and so all of my RPGs now are for the Lord, and I'm lucky if I get 10 people backing it. If I can get 20 people backing, I'm shocked. I used to get like I don't know what was the last 50 or 100 on my whatever on the original, and I was building. I figured I was building clients for the D&D and the RPGs, but again, and I kind of went off to Star Wars, which that failed. I couldn't get anything from Star Wars, so I was going to go back to D&D, but it's all woke, it's all gone that way, pagan, and I realized I can't do that anymore. I love the Lord, so I figured out a way to love the Lord and do RPGs. But the Lord is the master, not the RPG. The Lord is the master, not my group, not my D&D group or my RPG group, who I might offend if I bring out the gospel. They're not my master. My master is the Lord. I want to do a game that glorifies the Lord, and well, the Lord RPG does that. And if you're a Christian, you want to do that too. Now, you don't have to buy into my thing. You can do whatever. You can steal my ideas and put it in your game, or whatever. And the reason is RPGs are about us playing a persona, pushing an agenda in that character mode, in a fantasy, telling stories, and influencing people in a social group. Everyone says it's a fellowship and group therapy and really helps out and socializing and da-da-da. Okay, so let's bring in the Lord then. Oh, no, not that though. You know, it's about picking gods and characters, and we're dealing with gods let's deal with the Jesus God. No, not that one. Just not that one. You know, so this is my little babbling rant again, just because I'm going to keep doing them because that's all I got. And then go work somewhere here in LA. I don't know where I'm going to work. I literally don't. I don't want to do computer animation and edit anymore. I literally don't want to do that. I want to do something physical. I want to move around and not sit at a desk all day. Anyway, all right. So still trucking along while I can, while I still feel like I have a bit more time with Kickstarters and doing this stuff. But I do it for the Lord. Whether I succeed or fail, I'm okay either way. But I'm having a good time. The games are great. Really having a wonderful time with it, and it's taught me a lot about church history, especially. All right, it's really been great there. I really want to keep learning more about church history and about our culture, you know, and how things are with paganism versus Christianity. All right, in the what am I gonna say? What's my motto thing? In the game of life, you Christians who play role-playing games, in the game of life, we got to start rolling holy dice.